network. I am a Tribassador, and I'm about to tell you what three areas I'm an ambassador for. So let's go ahead and get into it. I hope that you guys have been enjoying the network. The network is amazing. They got incredible things going on, new things coming up, and it's always fresh and new and interesting and something that's not really heavy but fun and lighthearted. And I want you to enjoy it. But the three areas that I am an ambassador for are Oklahoma, Norman, and wine. And you're going to get to learn about all three of them. So let me start with Oklahoma. Why am I an ambassador for Oklahoma? Well, let me tell you, I have lived in the state of Oklahoma for 44 years. I was 5 years old when we moved here. We moved here from Minnesota, which I do love, my home state. But Oklahoma is home for me. Oklahoma is where I'm from. Oklahoma is what raised me. Oklahoma is the space that I've lived in, put my energy into, where I'm raising my children and married in. And it's just an amazing place. And so I think people don't understand or have been here and explored enough to really understand the amazing opportunities that are here. For example, knowing that we have 39 federally recognized nations in Oklahoma, we have 13 ecoregions, we have more shorelines than most states. We've got incredible lakes, a lake culture that's phenomenal. You can go see the rivers and lakes of the southeast. You can go to the high plains of the northwest. You can go to the Ozarks of the northeast. You can go to the straight up Great Plains of the southwest and get all the things that you need traveling just in our state. Also, we have the longest stretch of Route 66. It is amazing, and people are just really nice. And I've done a lot of things about that, so I'm not going to kind of go into a ton of detail other than to say being here and experiencing Oklahoma is amazing. And if you haven't come to visit, please come and visit. Please eat great food, and I've got videos on that. You can come and travel. I've got great videos on that. All of that's available to you. Just put in Oklahoma and travel in my network, and all the videos will pop up and you can watch them. But I love the state of Oklahoma, and I've lived here most of my life, and I just adore it. It's also cost of living is lower. It is phenomenal. I mean, there's always things I'd like to see better, investment, education, things like that. But at the same time, I just love it. This is my home, and sunsets, and my friends and people that live here, and my family that's here, and it's just amazing. And I adore the state of Oklahoma, and I hope that you have a chance to come and visit sometime soon. The second thing is Norman. Now, let me tell you, I came to Norman a little different. So, I moved to Norman about 20 years ago. Yeah, it would have been 20 years ago. 22 years ago. No, actually 21 years ago, because it would have been the year before I got married. Um, so I came here via Altus. I grew up in Altus in Southwest Oklahoma, and then I moved to Weatherford, Oklahoma. Went to school at Southwestern Oklahoma State University. Then moved to Oklahoma City for 6 years, and then my wife was going to school here in Norman, and so then I decided to move down here because she got a job down here. So we have lived in Norman for the last 21 years, and so it has been amazing for me to kind of grow with this city and see the changes and really get excited about what's coming and all the things that are happening. I mean, and all the ebbs and flows and just the quirkiness of Norman. If you have not been here, come and check it out. We are ultimately like a military hippie city. And I know those two things like don't go together, but they really do. Why? Because we are very patriotic. We were born out of bases. There was a north base and a south base. The north base is Max Westheimer Airport right now, and south base is the University of Oklahoma. So we actually have a military roots in the city, and then we also have the incredible arts areas and arts districts. And because we have a Division I research university, we have the professorate here, and so we see a lot of highly intelligent people that do incredible things. The research coming out of here is phenomenal. The economic development coming out of here is phenomenal. But the art and small business and just the level of creativity is incredible. Our live music is phenomenal. We have live music every night. There's not a night that you can't find live music in Norman, Oklahoma, no matter what day it is. You can find live music. We have, of course, the Norman Music Festival, which is the largest music festival in the state of Oklahoma. We're the third largest city in Oklahoma, and we're just incredible, and we rock. Um, we are going through transitions like a lot of cities, and so we're seeing that happen. So it is interesting because we're growing really fast, and I think we'd like to kind of slow things down a little bit, take some time to mull them over, do some research, think about things, and analyze the situation, then make decisions. However, the world is moving faster than that. So we're kind of having some growing pains, and we're figuring things out that way. But we, of course, are right next to Moore and next to Oklahoma City, and Oklahoma City and Moore and the metro area is growing faster than anywhere else in the state of Oklahoma, and actually doing pretty fast in the country. It's the 20th largest city, and so we are kind of part of that as well. So our economics are tied to some of that, but at the same time, we are unique, and so we like to make sure and let people know we are a unique little city. So come and visit. And my favorite story is I had a neighbor, and the neighbor next door had cats, and he was an older gentleman, and I thought that is a quirky old man, and I did not know who he was. And ultimately, he's just an next door neighbor. He's quiet, but there's just a bunch of cats everywhere. And at one point, we're like going, "What happened to him, and what happened to the cats?" Well, he moved. His daughter came in. They moved him because he was an older gentleman. And I finally was like, "Who is he? Like, who is this man?" Kind of scrappy, kind of like, so I had some preconceived judgments, I'll be honest. Come to find out, he's an anthropology professor at the University of Oklahoma. He was a prof from just up the street. And I thought, you know what? That teaches me to judge people. So I was like, huh. And I mean, literally, you got people from very different backgrounds that will fight and argue, but then the Sooners will play. Well, when the Sooners play, they're going to sit there and talk no matter what political spectrum they're from. How they do this weekend? How they do playing? What'd you think about the softball team? What'd you think about the baseball team? So they gymnastics. I mean, they're going through all of that. So sports brings us together, even though we fight tooth and nail like siblings. So there's that. So I do love my city, and I will always love my city. I love my region. Why? Because I'm also have grown very fond of Noble and Slaughterville and Purcell and Lexington. So this whole area of our space, I love that because I'm watching it grow together and kind of do neat things. And I think the neat things that we're doing are impactful and they're going to be amazing. The accelerating opportunity here is going to be phenomenal. So I just tell everybody move here, come visit, come get here. Now I'll be honest, it's pricey. We're one of the second priciest cities in the metro area. Edmond is first, Norman is second, and then you get into like Oklahoma City and the other surrounding suburbs. So I do recognize that. Like that's one of the hardest things about us. And we have a lot of students that come in for 9 months and then they leave, and they come in for 9 months and they leave. So we are kind of like a resort city. In the summertime, we're chill. People watch live music on Sundays. You can have, wine in the park and hang out. And it's just like you let your hair down for the 3 months and then the students come back and the energy just comes back. So it's a neat ebb and flow if you're into that kind of thing. So you can have like the energy of the young students coming in, and then ultimately when they leave in the summertime, it's like, oh, we get to take a breath and kind of figure out what we're doing as a community and just kind of hang out and bond and connect. And that's fun too. The last thing is I am actually very well known for being an Oklahoma wine ambassador. And that is, I'm a person who's been around the Oklahoma wine industry since I was 25. So with me being 49, that means 24 years. Ultimately, the reason I got involved was a little self-serving and interesting. And that is, I worked at Barnes & Noble at 61st and May in Oklahoma City. I was scared to death I was going to end up in a job interview and they were going to tell me, let's go to dinner and you need to pick the wine. And so when they said that, it scared me. I thought this is going to be a very difficult thing for me because I knew nothing about wine at the time. No clue. I knew it existed, but that was it. My parents weren't wine drinkers. There wasn't anybody around me that was really a wine drinker that taught me anything. So I said, what do I do? Well, I worked at Barnes & Noble. So I started reading in their wine section. Before I ever drank anything, I started reading words like terroir and, how they grew. Then I'm like, I wonder if there's any in this area. And I understand this is a long time ago, so my little computer took forever for me to look it up, but I was like, there's wineries in Oklahoma. So I went to my very first one, and it was Canadian River Winery in Slaughterville. south of Norman. So I went down there, and the first time I walked in, I met Ray, who is Jean's daughter, Jean Clifton's daughter, and so we had a chance to sit down and talk, and then I started kept kind of coming back to that winery, and so I built kind of a relationship with them. I did a lot of work for them and spent time there, and so we did VIP nights, we did grape stomps, and I actually did a wine tour company where I did several wine tours all over the state, and so I have again relationships in the Northeast. I have relationships in the Southwest, the South Central, Central Oklahoma, and so all these different areas. Um, and I just know all these winemakers because they're incredible. Their history is incredible. The stories behind them is incredible. And just the industry in Oklahoma is amazing. But it is, let me tell you, it takes some serious skill to grow grapes in Oklahoma and make wine in Oklahoma because it's just a crazy climate. Like our climate is not like Napa. Let me just tell you, in case you're wondering, California and Oklahoma have very different climates. However, when you do it right, it is amazing. It is phenomenal and it's magical. And so that is really, really cool. So I got invested in that and I did that for a long time. Had a YouTube channel called Oklahoma Wine Culture. I did delete it and lost a lot of the videos on it. Because I was just going through some stuff. So ultimately, I'm bringing it back as a channel underneath the network, redoing some of the videos that I lost because I want to make sure that they're in here and making sure that I share the knowledge that I have because I think it's very important. I think it's important that you learn, even if you don't drink it, but you learn it. Because again, in cultural situations, you need to know things that you may not like do. And I have some people that are going, well, I just don't drink at all. I am absolutely, then that's cool. I say, go to a cheese shop, go to Forward Foods and try cheeses. Why? Because you can do the same thing. They have terroir, they have, regions, they have where they're grown, they have the way the animal has been raised, they have all these things. You can do the same thing and learn the nuances of it. And I'm learning right now coffee. So kind of similar, learning where it's the coffee regions, where they're located, how it's grown, how it's, brewed, the ritual around it. Because again, the wine world, I knew how to look through it and check it and swirl it, taste it, sip it, all the things that you do in order to taste the wine to figure out what you think of it. I said, I know all of that and I've done all of that, which I will do that again in a later video, just to give you kind of a tutorial on how to do that and why that's done. So again, these are three different areas where I am an ambassador. I'm an ambassador, an Oklahoma ambassador, I'm a Norman ambassador, and I am an Oklahoma wine ambassador, and I have been for a very, very long time. So if you ask around and say, who's the Oklahoma wine guy, you will probably get me. Or if you look it up on Google, Oklahoma wine, you'll see my face. You'll see videos that I've done. You'll see other things that I've done in the past. That will all happen, and it will show up. I think it's important for me to really support the things that I find important and also people that I find important. And it really is about connections and people that I know. So in the Oklahoma ambassador world, I know people in all different industries. I know people in tourism. I know people in business. I know people in economic development. And so those relationships are important. So I just want to bring other people from other states into relationship with us. In Norman, it is like a personal thing for me because I live here. I live on the east side and I'm watching it grow by leaps and bounds. And I want to make sure that I am building the city that I want my kids to live in and be raised in and grow in and be a part of. And that's important to me, but also other people's children. I want to make sure that when you come here and you visit Norman, you feel seen and heard and loved and cared for, and you can be creative here, and we want to encourage that, and we want to grow the creative arts here and make sure that we have film and music and studios and all the incredible things that can happen in our spaces, because I think we are that, like Norman is that. I don't know that we promote that enough. I think we're actually quite bad at it because we are really a creative energy space, and we should be way higher on the list of creative cities than we are, and I think we can do better. And then when it comes to the Oklahoma wine stuff, I've told you I've been around a long time. Knowing it and knowing the background and knowing the cultural significance of it, whether it's religious significance, if it's historical significance, if it's just like learning and how it pairs with food, how it enhances food and it goes together, how it brings social people together, whether it is a book club or maybe you have a wine club that you get together and you do that. Do you visit my friends at the winery and sit and visit with the winemakers and learn all the amazing things that are possible? Do you know the history of Oklahoma wine? Did you know that we were the fourth largest grape growing region in the country prior to statehood, prior to 1907? And so we actually were one of the leading grape growing regions. We had wine in Oklahoma, and then with statehood, we adopted prohibition. So once in 1907 we became a state, we also adopted prohibition at the same time. So we did not get our liquor laws back till 1959, which is 20 years after when the nation did. It was 1939 when the U.S. prohibition ended, but in Oklahoma, it was 1959, and we really didn't see a resurgence into our history and our wine history until about the 80s or 90s. We started to see it come back. We had a couple wineries at the time, and then it ended up doing a whole bunch of things that are, then we ended up like really doing, we grew a lot in the 80s and 90s, and then we ended up having people come in. They started growing a lot of grapes, and then it became very competitive. And of course, the market is competitive now. As a matter of fact, you look at Napa Valley right now, they're ripping vines out, and they're taking down some of theirs because they either overplanted, there's not enough grapes for sale for them to give to someone else, and they're having problems marketing it because they're too expensive, and there's that. So I've talked all about that in other videos, so you can check that out. And I hope that you guys have a great day. Cannot wait to let you know that there's a whole lot more coming on the network. Check out other channels if you're not interested in this one, because guess what? There's more for you. And I hope that you have a great day. Talk to you soon.